Hey there, viewers, and welcome back to the South Main Auto Channel. Got a 2014 Chevrolet. It's a Spark. It's got the big one too. 3-cylinder in this bad boy. Doesn't run, is what they told me. Just a no start. I don't know if it doesn't crank or what it doesn't do. The battery was plumb dead this morning. Threw a jumper on it, got it in neutral. Josh and I pushed it in. Put a little charger on there, set it to nuclear, and it's been about a half hour, and it looks like it's charging up there. Yeah, it's been about a half hour. So let's see what we have. Let's see if it cranks. Let's see what things sound like. Let's gather some clues and then come up with a plan to see what we're going to do to find out why this thing doesn't run. Grab us a scan tool here when we're getting in there. 94,629 on the clock. Plug in a scan tool right here. Oh, what we got here? One of these little things. Progressive, it says. Oh, big brother. Keeping an eye on you. Alright, looks like we have power at the data link, so that's good. Let's cut the key on. What the interesting? Sounds like the fuel pump's running. Yeah, something's running back there. Huh, yeah, sounds like it's running continually. Oh. What's your problem, lady? The thing doesn't crank. Huh. Alright. Well, everything looks normal on the dash. It says it's in neutral. It says it's in park. No security light. We have the engine light on and the reduced power light on. Okay, well, that's what we know. We know what we know now. That's what she looks like with the key cut on, and like I say, you hear something in the back. Boy, it sure sounds like the fuel pump is running. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. Is it 7 o'clock already?
7 o'clock? What are you talking about?
What's in the bag, baby? Stuff, the goods. At this point, what should we do? If we were smart, we'd keep it simple. We'd go right to the starter and we'd say, hey, are we getting any power at the starter? But we plugged in a scan tool. So we're just gonna do a little system scan here real quick. Kind of curious that the fuel pump's back there running continually. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but figure being that we have it plugged in, we'll take a look. Looking like it's popping up a bunch of codes. Not many modules on this little guy. So I'll let this thing finish scanning. We'll see what codes are in it. Perhaps it's from the battery being dead, who knows. If nothing here looks, really turned to my crank, we will just go to the starter and see. I've seen people waste a lot of time thinking it's some in-depth problem when indeed it's just a bad starter. Survey says, we have 5-volt reference circuit, 5-volt reference 1, 2, 3, 4 circuit, 641, 651, 697, and 6A3, and a 532 AC refrigerant pressure, low voltage. So that's kind of curious that all of the 5-volt reference circuits are junk. What are we dealing with here? Are we dealing with a bad PCM? ABS light is on for low voltage, and powertrain control module indicates traction control, so problem with the PCM. Body control module, bunch of low voltage codes in it. Low voltage, low voltage, low voltage. So yeah, bunch of low voltage codes. So let's do this. This is kind of curious about the 5-volt reference circuits. How could all 4 of them be going down? I'm not a big electronics guy, but generally speaking, those are all separate regulators in the PCM, which usually works out well because you can, you know, if one of the 5-volt reference circuits is shorted, usually it doesn't drop all of them, you know, whatever's on that single line. You know, if it has like, you know, throttle position and map sensor, let's say, are on one 5-volt reference. If that 5-volt shorts out, you know, the AC pressure transducer keeps working, and the, you know, crank sensor, whatever else runs off the other 5 volts usually is like that. I don't know. Maybe this is different. Maybe this has nothing to do with anything. So all the other codes cleared out, and I assume it's because, you know, the battery was dead and people were fiddling. We'll go here and we'll look. We probably got rid of the AC transducer code and just have the 5-volt reference codes is my guess. Yeah, look at that. 5-volt reference circuits 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's bizarro, man. Wonder what it looks like when we go into live data to automatic transmission. I wonder what any of these 5-volt sensors, what do they look like? Oh, there's probably a whole separate section for 5-volt stuff here. I'm just going to go into engine data. We'll select all, we'll hit OK. A lot of sensors run on 5 volts, so I'm just kind of curious what they look like here. Ambient temp, it shows 32 degrees. Barrel at 13.5. I would think barrel would be, unless it's built into the PCM, I would think barrel would have been a 5-volt sensor. Let's find something else here. I probably picked one that's all 12-volt stuff. Fuel tank pressure sensor. We know on a GM is typically 1.5. Now here it only shows the actual pressure being 0.3 inches of water, which is believable. Hood ignition. Map sensor, look at that. Oh, see it bouncing all around there? That's interesting. So that's kind of curious, right? 1.9, 0.4, okay. It's got a little hitch in her giddy up there, that's for sure. Interesting. And then, like I say, with that fuel pump running all the time, I'm going to do a little poking here, see if I can find the 5-volt. Usually they'll show the 5-volt circuits in not service info, but in scan data. Yeah, here we are. It's under ignition. So 5-volt reference 1, 2, 3, 4 shows the status. We're going to select all. So I was pretty sure GM showed that in their scan data. So 5-volt reference number 1, 5-volt 0, 5-volt 0. Number 2 is doing the same thing. You guys see this? Number 3 is doing the same thing. 4 doing the same thing. They all show a malfunction. What the world? What the world? So that's kind of weird. I never seen nothing like this before. Cool, man. So what do you do? What do you do, Rocco? I would assume that if all these reference circuits are individual, I would assume they all had their own 5-volt regulator in the PCM, you know? I mean, I would think that's how they monitor it, but it's moments like this I wish Big Clive was here because we could tear it apart and see. But let's come up with a diagnostic plan here and see what we can do and go from there. Service info states, which is kind of nice because we could learn this from a diagram, 5-volt reference 1s runs the refrigerant pressure sensor, the intake and exhaust cam sensors, and the fuel tank pressure sensor. 5-volt number 2, brake pedal, clutch, crankshaft, and vehicle speed. Reference 3, manifold map sensor and accelerator pedal position. And reference number 4, accelerator pedal position and throttle position. Their theory here is the same as ours, same way we do. Disconnect one component at a time on the affected 5-volt reference circuit while observing the scan tool status. It'll change from malfunction to okay when the fault is disconnected. If the 5-volt reference components have been disconnected and the fault still indicated, the fault may be in the wiring harness. Therefore, change the entire harness. No, we don't work at a dealership, so we're not going to do that. I'm leaning heavy on a bad ECM just because things are happening, but I don't know what. Let me come up with a plan. I don't know if I want to go through and disconnect everything. That's a lot of stuff to get to. However, my thought in my head is if service info isn't correct and one 5-volt reference being pulled down has some funky effect on the other 3, then it's almost forcing the hand here to have to unplug everything. I wish I had a good current probe or an accurate current probe to go around those circuits to see if any of them are drawing more current than the other. I guess we could do it in comparison. I'm just thinking out loud here how we can determine if one of these 5-volt reference circuits is shorted, screwing up the rest of them. I don't know. Let me do some poking here. I'll come up with a plan. I'll let you guys know what it is. I was just over here piddling. Listen to this. Hear the fuel pump running. Fuel pump just quit. I unplugged the cam sensor. Now I believe that's probably because the 5-volt reference is coming and going and the PCM's probably receiving a crank type signal, something along those lines would be my assumption. Now with that one, just that single one being unplugged, nothing really changed here. Still going crazy, still going crazy. Not going as crazy, but still going crazy, 5 to 0. Still going crazy, so nothing really changed. I was just debating what's gonna be the easiest thing to get to. Unfortunately, the cam sensors are on the 5-volt reference circuit that the fuel tank pressure sensor is on. I was just trying to look and identify components to see if this is doable. I also think in my mind, what is a likely culprit, and in our environment, the answer to that is everything. But the honest answer to that is fuel tank pressure sensor. We all know GM tank pressure sensors, we see those shorted out all of the time, but never pulling down all 4. So let me continue to think here. Well, it looks pretty clean underneath for a 14, from around here anyway. Let's see if we can't unplug this fuel tank pressure sensor. Get the lock to release here, perhaps. I don't believe we're going to fix this car. Well, there we go. By unplugging stuff. It's just your standard GM 5-volt fuel tank pressure sensor. However, I honestly believe, if you want my honest opinion, I think it's going to need the main brain box. That would be my big fat guess. Let's let it down. Well, let me grab a scan tool here. Stand by. We'll take a gander and see if that changed anything, and it did not. All of the 5-volt references here are still doing the bouncy bounce. They all still say malfunction. All we have is one cam sensor unplugged in this fuel tank pressure sensor. If I wasn't making a stupid video, I would just make the call on the PCM. I'm not gonna lie. That's the AC pressure sensor up there. I've gone ahead and unplugged that. So now we'll set the car down. So that's the pressure sensor, the fuel tank pressure sensor back there, and both cam sensors. They are on their own circuit. According to service data, they are the ones that run on reference number 1. Stick that out of the way. We're gonna reach back here and do the intake cam. If we can get a pick, get back there and unpick that little guy. Everything on reference 1 is unplugged. AC pressure sensor, both cams and the fuel tank. And we can see here that it's still going wonky. Now, one thing we should check is we should check to see what the 5-volt reference line is actually doing. Check it with a meter. We can check it on any of these here and see, because sometimes, you know, if a sensor is shorted to voltage, it will only display, you know, 5 volts on the scan tool or whatever its max output is. You know, you see that with, like, when we do a bypass test, for example, like on an O2 sensor. You know, we touch battery voltage with our finger, we touch the signal wire, and it only goes up to, you know, 1.25 when actually it's, you know, 12 volts going to it. It can only display its max value. So let's just see what we actually have happening on that 5-volt reference line. Maybe that'll give us another clue. Hook that to battery negative. We will go to volts DC. Got this little pin here. We'll go to 10 volts on our scale. Move that up a little bit. It's going to be some noise because of our charger, I thought. Okay, white with blue. It's supposed to be the 5-volt ref. It's in pin 3 or pin 1. It's over on the end. And that indeed is what we have going on. That regulator is turning on and off inside that computer. Going just a little bit past 5 volts, 4, 6, going up to about 5.5 volts. So nothing crazy, and that's with everything unplugged. At least everything unplugged in 5-volt reference 1. Now I looked at the wiring diagram for the PCM. I'll show you here. We'll just go over here. We'll just do it live. Coming live, and it does show, you know, separate regulators. So this is the one we're on right now, 5-volt 1. This is the wire we're on, this white with blue stripe. Exhaust cam position, like I say, it's completely open circuited. Here's 5-volt 2, brake pedal, crankshaft. I don't know, folks, I find it pretty hard to believe that one is affecting the other when we've got an entire circuit unplugged. I'd be more inclined to check powers and grounds going into the PCM and then making a decision from there instead of going through and unhooking every single 5-volt reference just to find, you know, the same deal here. If you have a weak stomach, you might want to turn your head at this point. Wanting to know if one 5-volt reference circuit can affect the other, that's what we're trying to do without going through and unplugging everything. Obviously, we just did one circuit. We did all of circuit 1 and we saw no change. I'm going to back out of here. Get rid of the status. We don't really need that. Kind of speed up our data on the screen. And like I say, what I want to know is if this circuit was shorted, can it goof up all of these? You know, that's the big question. According to service data, no. But we know service data always lies. So, how about this? I plugged everything back in except this one cam sensor. Nothing changed, okay, on circuit number 1. We're going to take circuit number 1, we're going to short it directly to ground. There is fault tolerance built into these circuits. That circuit is completely dead shorted to ground now, okay? Does it have an effect on the other circuits? Nope, it keeps popping up here like 0.006 once in a while there. That's on, remember, circuit number 1. This is the one that we have shorted directly to ground right here. I'm surprised it even pops up that at that kind of voltage there. Make sure I've got a good ground. Oops. Back off, it's up and running. Make sure we have it shorted out good. And we can see it doesn't affect the other ones. They're still bouncing from 0 to 5 volts or 4.88, 4.88, 4.8. I guess we could always look at them in a graph, however you turn that on. That's 5 volt reference number 2. And we can see that just jumps up to 5 volts. Let me remove the short and see if it changes anything there. Doesn't really seem to affect that circuit at all. All right, that's with our short removed. And we can see now that we've removed the short, we're back to 5 volts there on reference number 1. Does that make sense to you guys? Basically, I was just trying to prove if one 5 volt reference shorts out, does it affect the others? I'm gonna have to say it does not. It affects every sensor on that individual circuit, but I do not believe that it's going to affect the rest of them. I'm still really leaning heavy on that PCM. We're gonna unplug our test equipment here. I think our next best step, strictly in my opinion, would be to get the ECM out here where we can see it, get the battery out of here. I'm gonna put the car in neutral prior to that in case we don't put it all back together so we can push it back outside. I doubt I'm gonna get the job. I doubt they're gonna fix this car, but that's the story of my life. We'll at least do our due diligence. I checked to see if Wilbert's had one just for some silly chance. They do not. The Chevy Spark is not a very popular whip in these areas. Let's do that. We're gonna verify our power going to the PCM, make sure that's not turning on and off. I don't believe that it is. Matter of fact, we could probably look at our ignition feeds coming into it. I'm gonna poke through here and see if I can find that information to see if anything jumps out to us before we pull it out here. Looking in scan data, everything looked pretty normal as far as the, the 12 volt feeds that it shows. Nothing looks really out of line. What's up, Mrs. O?
Just coming to check on you.
Am I in danger?
Yeah, you do.
Why would you be concerned about that? Hit OK on it, will you? When a scan tool
Exit or reconnect?
exit. When the scan tool loses power from the VCI module, it starts making that noise. Think we got a bad main brain here, Mrs. O.
Oh, it's the brain box.
The brain box. So I don't know if we're gonna get the job on this little junker or not, but we're doing our due diligence and trying to smile while we do it.
Is this the one with the missing fuse?
Nope, that was yesterday.
It was a different one.
That was that Hondu. That guy got lucky, huh?
This guy's not getting lucky.
I don't know. How come this isn't working on an angle like that? Can I just grab a little bit? A little more of my fingers can. No, I think his main brain is toasted, yeah. Come on, man. There we go. Gotta use the voice grip. That's what we suspect, me and the people. We're just going through the motions at this point. Basically like we do every day, going through the motions. All right, there's the brain box. Got a couple 10 mils down in there. Hopefully that lays the whole thing over for us. Loosen it up here, see if it does. Feels like it should. We just need to get to the connector. Looks like there's 1 ground, maybe 3 powers. What the world are we doing with these manual tools? Will you go grab us a cordless 3/8 impact, please? Please, Mrs. O. Pretty please. only do the,
That,
the 20 volt to the right.
like this one?
Yes, ma'am. Here she comes. Come on! People are waiting. Got some DIY wiring going on over here. Actually, this is the local dealership. Our local Chevrolet dealer. They put these things in here for you. Keeps your car from rusting. It's the Rustivator. Only costs you about $1,400 on top of your car. But for an only extra $10 a month, you can have the unlimited limited protection of the Rustivator system. What a scam. They have one now that they just plug into your data link connector. They tell you it keeps your car from rusting.
Yeah, right. Where?
How stupid do people have to be to buy that crap?
Arizona?
Yeah, exactly. Guaranteed. As long as you don't park next to the beach when you're there, they will guarantee.
The beach in Arizona?
Yeah, you know, oceanfront property in Arizona.
In Arizona.
Yeah.
Or drive it through the state of New York.
Yeah, exactly. I think people just get so dumb when they go to the car dealer. They buy all these extended warranties, Rustivators and Rusty Jones, and what's the crap they put on that, you know, keeps it from getting stains, and Scotch Guard. Yeah, they get her Scotch Guard.
You can buy that in a can.
Yeah, I know.
Yourself.
The only one that makes out at the dealership when that happens is the salesman.
My mom Scotch Guards her car.
Does she really?
Like at home, herself.
She DIYs it?
Yeah. Well, not now. She got leather.
She got the leather.
But she used to.
Before she had the leather, the hole in the roof, the chubby rubber. Here we are. Oh, look at that, folks. 1, 2, and 3. The connectors are labeled. Huzzah. You don't ever see that. Let's find out who's who. See who they've been talking with, who they've been dealing with. Let's go look at the computer. All right, survey says connector X1 has 1, 2, 3 powers, and connector X2 has the sole single ground. Seems kind of bizarre, but we're going to go with it. Let me pull the cover off number 1 and number 3. I'm going to look at a regular diagram. GM's pretty good about it. GM separates their module, power, ground, serial data, and mill. We just have to believe it. We're going to believe it. And then we'll go through here. Engine control module, that is just, that's our 5-volt reference lines. And then our low reference going to all the other sensors. And then 5 volts, 3 and 4. That's pretty well it. I'm gonna believe this diagram to be correct. And we're just gonna go right back to the top to the control module powers and grounds. We're gonna go down here, we're gonna check those 3 and then this one ground. Okay, we are going to test the current carrying capability of a couple small jump wires. We'll find out. The key is in the cut on position. What in the world is that? Did something fall on there? We're going battery negative. This is negative. Hang on. Hang on to this wire. See if it gets hot. Not feeling any heat, so that tells me that these wires can carry enough current to do what we need to do. Currently, the caps, they just pop off. 2 little clippy clips in the back. Pick them up, slide them out. Nothing in the front. And now we're gonna look at this. Number 19, 20, and 28. Let's see if we can identify our powers. Let's see, are these numbered? They are. And that's 1, 15, 29, 43. Let's grab ourselves a big bright test light and get after it. According to our diagram, number 73 is the black one on pin X3, number 73. That starts 53. I'm gonna assume, does that even go up to 73? 1, 53. That's not looking right. because that doesn't even look like it can be a 73 pin connector. 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 60. It can be, but I am not seeing. Oh, yeah, ding dong. It's because it's not connector X3. It's connector X2. This guy's special. I don't know why you guys watch me. They give me the task of counting 1 through 3 and I messed it up. We were close though. All right, now we have to cover off all of them. Let's see if there's a number 73 here. That starts out 53, goes down, all the way down. It does say it's black, right? Yeah, black, connector X2, pin 73. I'm not seeing any black wire on this side. That starts out 53. Let me pause the camera and do some counting. Here's one of them. This is a red with something, red with blue stripe. That one lights up. That is pin number 20. That's red with blue. Oops, we're gonna back up to pin 19, which is violet with gray. 4 amperes there, and then pin number something. I'm gonna guess 28, violet with blue. We gotta find that. I'm gonna have to get a little pick here to separate some stuff. We're looking for pin number 28, violet with blue. That's gonna be the last one in this row over here, because it goes row 1, row 15, row 29. Therefore, 28 is going to be in the last row of the second set here. But the wires are quite tight. I haven't cut the zip tie. I'll see if I can't just push them to the side here so we can get to where we need to get to. And it says it's going to be violet with blue, according to the diagram. Do we have a violet with blue hiding back here? Make sure you know which way that's facing. Because when you re-zip it, if you go to the car show, they see that that zip tie is on the other way. I don't know if it's an automatic loss, but it's definitely some big point deductions. 1, 2, that's funny. This isn't haha funny because the wire I see in that spot is green with a gray. That is in number 28. Do we have the wrong diagram? Let's see here. I'm curious about that. This is the other diagram. There was only 2 of them. And interesting. I guess I better start checking some RPO codes here. LLO, M4M, 1019 or 12, 101912. And that only has the addition. Interesting. 14, 12. They're showing the ground on number 73 also being black in connector X2, which we know is not true. Give me a minute to figure this out, folks. Some diagram discrepancies here. Violet with blue, they're showing in pin number. They have several different pin numbers listed here. Pin 18, pin 3. But the thing is, our other 2 were correct on this other diagram. They showed pin 19 and 20, which were correct. Sometimes you have to play a diagram hopscotch to start figuring things out. Well, I'm going to bring up a full diagram of the PCM, try to verify which one we have here. They show 2 different ones, but neither one of these seem really to be bang on. Let's see, that's the only ones they show, just these 2 diagrams for the 5-volt reference, which I don't believe it can be this one because this shows pin 14 as being white with violet. And I don't believe that's true. Pin 14, that's the last one here, which there is no pin 14 even in this vehicle. It's very curious. I think I have this figured out. So 19 and 20 we know have power. Number 28's the big dilemma. And if we look on the OEM wire diagram, it shows connector X1, pin 19, pin 20, and pin 28 on X1. Well, when I look at the crappy Mitchell diagrams, well, I don't have it up here anymore, which are 90% wrong 90% of the time, it shows pin 19, 20 on X1, but pin 28 on connector X2. Aha! And then the black wire on pin 73, they do not go sequential because that would make too much sense. Pin 73 is just a rogue pin off on the side all by itself. So I think we have it figured out. I could still be wrong on just about everything. What am I missing? I'm missing a test light. Gosh dang it. Gotti. Okay, 1920 we know is good. Here's number 73, which is this jumbo, big jumbo black one here off in the corner. This is our ground. We're gonna probe into that. We're gonna hook our battery back up. Oh, hang on. Battery's hooked back up. Our ground lights up nice and bright, so that's good there. And then pin number 28, we gotta look to see what color are you. Violet with blue. And now we need to track it down. We're going to assume that the color diagram is correct and it is in X2. Let me separate these wires and find it and just verify that that's good, and then we'll make a decision what we're gonna do. I believe I found it. I did some counting. Violet with blue. Survey says it'll light a 4 amp test light. Bright and shiny. So that is all 3 powers, the ground. And that's that and a dime sag. We're good as far as that's concerned. I feel pretty comfy making a call on a PCM here. If I'm wrong, I will purchase it. I will give the customer that reassurance. I'm not gonna stuff them with a however many $100 computer if I'm incorrect, because I'm refusing to go any further, which then I would feel like a complete idiot. I'm always preaching you guys, just make sure. This has the classic symptoms of a failed PCM. Are these both the same? Yes, ma'am. Like I said, I don't feel bad making that call. Of course, we don't know zippy zap about this car, why it is in the current state that it's in. You know, did they try to jump start it backwards? You know, who knows? You know, you never know. Customer's never going to tell you the truth anyway, so you don't even bother asking. I gave up on that a long time ago. I let them tell me their story, but I really don't listen. If I'm being honest. Which we are. Okay. Oh, must be they had this red wire shoved in that big thing. Like I said, this thing's just a bunch of hocus pocus, and it's not even hooked up over there anyways, so I'll just kind of pretend we didn't see that and stick that over there. That's that. I'm gonna leave this loose. I'm gonna get a price on a PCM, give the customer a call. We might need these numbers, see what they want to do, see if they want to fix it, junk it, whatever they're gonna do with it. 19, that's 20, that's 73, that's a big one. Yes indeed, yes indeed. There's that. 3 powers and a ground. Let's see if that's 14, that's 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, we have 12 volts. We have our, I don't know if this computer is going to turn on because I don't know where it receives its wake up signal from. 21, 22, 23, 24. What I'm doing is the PCM's powered on. Or, come on, you friggin' it was powered on. Let me redo that real quick. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There's pin 19, pin 20, so we have 19, 20. I have them powered on through a test light, so if I'm wrong, all that happens is the light bulb lights up. We have our ground and we have our other one, and instead of doing it like a ding-dong, pin number 24 is also, or pin number 24 isn't also, it is the 5-volt reference number 1. So 21, 22, 23, 1, 2, 3, 4. Eyes aren't working great this morning. We just want to see, is it doing the same thing that it was doing? Guess what, old son? Get here where we can change our time basis a little bit. And looky. That's our 5-volt reference coming out of the PCM with no other outside influence. Bada bing, a bada boom. That's 5-volt reference 1. Power ground, that's it. No shorted sensors, no nothing. Let me look up where 5-volt reference 2 comes out, see if it looks the same. X328 is another 5-volt reference. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. What are you looking like, old son? Oh, I'll be dipped. Looks like the same gol dang thing. Gol dang. Now are you convinced? Gosh, should have let me quit an hour ago. What do we want to unhook? Let's unhook everything. There. We killed power. We killed the ground. Something else killed the ECM. Who knows? Who knows, dude? ECM 5-volt references, as far as I know, are quite fault tolerant. So I doubt anything on the 5-volt reference circuit shorted and took out everything. I mean, gosh, we've seen plenty of shorted 5-volt sensors. You know, that was a big thing on, you'd see it often on Chryslers, you know, that was a big deal on those, you know, always crank sensor shorted, no start, no comm. So we always saw those when somebody already put the main brain box in it, the wiring harness, rewired everything, then we'd bring it in and unplug the crank sensor and ta-da, everything worked. However, we rarely saw them before they had somebody else's beaters all over them and were a big old mess. I don't know where this car came from. Kind of surprised to not see any parts on it personally, but maybe we're the first ones. They always tell you they're the first, but never seen it that way. That's that. The main brain has left the chat, or so it seems, powering it up separate. Great tip from Keith at L1 Auto Diagnostics. Gave me that little tip. I was speaking with him and sharing with him what I saw on this vehicle, because it's something I've never ran across before, and he has way more experience than I do. So I wanted to run that by him and say, hey, have you ever seen this? Where all of the 5-volt references and every 5-volt wire on the car is doing the same thing. Seems kind of bizarre. My gut told me back in the beginning, something's gone in the main brain. We could send it to Big Clive. He'd love to tear that thing apart, I'm sure. And then Keith is the one that suggested that I just power it up without the influence of anything else. Hopefully the brain box turns on and we're able to check any of the 5-volt reference wires coming out of it to see if it does the same thing. And here we are. So I feel comfortable. I feel good on the inside. Like I say, I don't know if the customer is going to fix it or junk it. I don't know. We'll find out. If they do decide to fix it, by golly, I'll bring you fellas back and we'll put a PCM in it. We'll get it all programmed, do the keys, whatever we have to do there to get the car running. and see if anything looks funky after that. Other than that, I'll see you folks in the comment section. Find me on the Insta, the Facebook. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.